Hello, everybody, and welcome to Enter the Rift Podcast, Season 1, Episode 9. And today on this episode, we are going to be talking about the black-eyed kids, those creepy, mysterious beings that appear at your door. I'm your host, Kenny. Joining me is my brother and co-host, Garrett.
Yo! I currently have a head cold, by the way, so if I sound weird, I am sorry. I apologize.
It's all right. So let's get into what the black-eyed kids are. So generally they're described usually that they show up in pairs. They look like normal children, except they're usually very pale and they wear modern clothes, although some people say that they have seen them wearing like old-fashioned or Mennonite style clothes.
Whose white baby is this? Whose white baby is beating on my door?
Oh my God. But sometimes they might wear sunglasses, or if they're a girl, they wear either like long bangs to conceal their eyes. And a lot of times they're described wearing hoodies, and they'll like have the hood pulled down so you can't see their face as well.
Yeah, so you get two variants. You get the Unabomber or you get the Grudge. Or the Ring. That's what, yeah, the Ring. The Grudge is the little boy. Yeah.
Well, I think either works with that.
Yeah, they're both creepy little shits.
Yeah. They usually range from like looking like they're 6 to 16 years old. And usually one of the pair is a little older than the other. And they'll have solid coal black eyes that look almost just like a void. No sclera, no pupil, nothing, just black. One of the first recorded stories, and where a lot of people think this really originates, is back in 1996. And a reporter in Abilene, Texas, by the name of Brian Beffel, had an encounter that we'll be going into. And he wrote a column for it in his newspaper. Eventually, someone uploaded that to the internet. A lot of people say black-eyed kids are just an urban legend, but the things really took off after his column was uploaded online. But a lot of people report actually having these experiences. So whether or not it's an actual paranormal phenomena, an urban legend, or maybe it's like a tulpic creation.
Or creepy little golf kids with sclera contacts, smoking those clove cigarettes in the graveyard, acting all mysterious Edgar Allan Poe style.
Yeah, that too.
Who's rapping at my bedroom door? Me with a 12 gauge. Get out.
Oh my gosh. Let's get into Brian's story here. Near as I can figure, this happened in 1996. I've managed to pin down the date that far. I feel like it happened in the spring or summer since I was wearing a pair of shorts, but one of my great regrets is not recording the actual date of the event. I'd gone down to the former site of Camelot Communications, one of the area's original internet providers, to pay my bill. At the time, Camelot was located on North 1st Street near the movie theater, in the shadow of what is now Chase, then Bank One. I was using the light of the theater's marquee to write out my check, which I planned to put in Camelot's night drop slot. Involved in my work, I never heard them approach. There was a knock on my driver's side window. 2 young boys, somewhere between 9 to 12 years old, dressed in hooded pullovers, hoodies, stood outside. I cracked the window a bit, anticipating a spiel for money, but I was immediately gripped by an incomprehensible, soul-racking fear, and I had no idea why. A conversation ensued between one boy, a somewhat suave, olive-skinned, curly-headed young man, and myself. The other, a red-headed, pale-skinned, freckled young man, stayed in the background. The spokesman, as I've come to think of him, told me that he and his companion needed a ride. They wanted to see a movie, Mortal Kombat, but they had left their money at their mother's house. Could I give them a ride? Plausible enough, but all throughout this exchange, the irrational fear grew. I had no reason to be frightened of these 2 boys, but I was, terribly. After a bit more conversation, I looked up at the theater marquee and down at the digital clock in my car. Mortal Kombat's last show of the night had already started. By the time I could have driven the boys anywhere and back, it would have practically been over. All the while, the spokesman uttered assurances. It wouldn't take long. They were just 2 little kids. They didn't have a gun or anything. The last part was a bit unnerving. I noticed that my hand had strayed toward the lock on my door. I pulled it away, perhaps a bit too violently. In the short time I had broken the gaze of the spokesman, something had changed, and my mind exploded in a vortex of all-consuming terror. Both boys stared at me with coal black eyes. The sort of eyes one sees these days on aliens or bargment basement vampires on late night television. Soulless orbs like two great swaths of starless night. I did what I feel any rational person would do. I full on freaked out inside while trying to appear completely sane and calm. I apologized to the kids. I made excuses, whatever came to mind, all of them designed to get me the hell out of there, fast. The aura I was feeling was now a palpable, black hanging thing, as almost the reality itself was warping around me. I wrapped my hand around the gear shift, threw the car into reverse, and began to roll up the window, apologizing all the while. My fear must have been evident. The boy in the back wore a look of confusion. The spokesman banged sharply on the window as I rolled it up. His words, full of anger, echo in my mind even today. "We can't come in unless you tell us it's okay. Let us in." I drove out of the parking lot in blind fear, and I'm surprised I didn't sideswipe a car or two along the way. I stole a quick look in my rearview mirror before peeling out into the night, and the boys were gone. Even if they had run, I don't believe there was any place they could have hidden from view that quickly. I write for a lot of reasons. I'd do it even if I didn't get paid to do so. So I wrote the story of what happened, more or less, as a cathartic exercise and shared it with a small group of friends on an email list. From there, it got out into the wider internet and grew and grew and grew. In time, there was a term coined for what I've seen, BEKs, or black-eyed kids. I wouldn't have chosen it personally, but the acronym the internet knows. I think that would be a pretty crazy experience. You're just minding your own business, and all of a sudden there's this thing that looks like a person tapping on your window, asking permission to be let in, saying, "It's okay, we're just little kids. We don't have a gun or anything."
Guess what? I do.
But yeah, it's kind of weird that when he actually started to drive away, how they basically just vanish. I mean, he said there wasn't really any spot they could have hid, so it's not like there was like maybe a car they could have dipped behind, or maybe ran behind like a dumpster or something.
They're hanging off the bumper like one of them Halloween decoration ghosts. Just dragging and kicking.
The whole time. Then they accidentally fall off and become a grease puddle.
Yeah. Every once in a while you got to throw out some caltrops or, like some weird little black-eyed kids out the trunk. Just toss them, let them eat.
Nice. But yeah, I'm not too sure what I would do myself in that situation. Besides, if as soon as I saw they had black eyes, like I wouldn't have even been like apologetic to them. I would have just peeled out.
Yeah, I mean, other than the risk of them grabbing the door, I would say throw that shit roll like fast open and smack them in the face and peel out.
I don't think opening the door at all would be a good idea.
Oh yeah, probably not. But if you could give them a good funk on the bridge of the nose and then peel out, that'd be pretty wicked. Or
why don't you just do like a donut in the car? You've seen those videos online where those people are in the streets or in a crowd and they're like doing donuts and shit, and like the rear of the car just sideswipes people and sends them flying. Just do that.
Oh yes, the clapped out Crown Victoria. Running on dubs, doing donuts, nearly rolling over and hitting people. Or in some of the videos, you see a big fat bitch get hit because she couldn't step out of the way too fast. She goes flying through the crowd like a bowling ball.
Yeah, just do that, except you sent a demon flying into a window.
Yeah, reach in the glove box, pull out the blicky and let it rip.
Right, let's get into some more stories, and these come from phantomsandmonsters.com.
Lon Strickler.
Yes. I'm a college student in Delaware. Around August of last year, I was sitting in my car in my driveway listening to music. It was around midnight, and I live kind of in the middle of nowhere. While I'm sitting in my car with my eyes closed, I start getting this feeling that I'm being watched. I look to my right, and I see a figure staring through my car window. It then darts away and then comes back to my window extraordinarily fast. It looked to be about 5 foot tall, Caucasian, and young. The figure was wearing a hood. I got a glimpse of its eyes, and I'm sure they were completely black eyes. Without hesitation, I threw my car in reverse and stepped on the gas. I heard bumping and banging against the right side of my car, and I could have sworn I felt bumping under my tires and stuff. I thought that I ran over someone in my driveway. I went to my friend's house, which was about 2 minutes away from mine, and I waited an hour in their driveway. After I drove back to my house, There was nobody there, nothing on the ground, no signs of anything that had just happened. Anytime I told my friends, they all think I was overreacting or hallucinating or something. But I know something happened that night. The feeling and sounds of bumping and banging against my car's windows and doors and the bumps under the tires. I remember this all too well for it to be fake.
Sounds like you just ran over a Jehovah's Witness.
Oh my God. Yeah, I mean, at least this person was just like, oh shit, and just peeled out real fast.
Yeah, which
they
is
didn't even,
the right attitude to have.
But if it was a person, you just ran somebody the fuck over and like.
Yeah, you just ran over, like Nancy down the street who was just coming by to see if you saw her cat or dog that got outside, and meanwhile you just ran over an old woman and you peeled out and dipped and didn't come back for an hour.
Yeah, maybe by then she kind of just like crawled her way off of the driveway into the bushes.
Yeah, all you see is a set of legs sticking out with a pair of slippers.
And if it was a black-eyed kid or an evil being, then it got what it deserved.
Yep. GTA, sucker.
All right, let's go into another story here. A few months back, I was driving down a dirt road near where I live, the middle of nowhere in southern Ontario, and my radio started going fuzzy and switched to a different song. Then I see two kids, a boy and a girl age I would guess would be at most 8, sitting down playing on the side of the road. Not being anywhere near any houses, which is very strange considering how dangerous it is for kids to be alone on these roads. I see people going way faster than the speed limit all the time. No responsible parent would let their kids play like this. I was concerned about their safety, so I pulled up beside them and asked if their parents know that they are out here, and without even looking up at me, they just said yes. And I said, okay, well, be careful out here and watch out for cars. The girl looked up, and oh my God, her eyes were completely black. I quickly drove off, wanting no part of those two kids. Again, someone else who has an episode where they're in their car and they have the right reaction. They peel out.
Yeah, do not be the stereotypical white dude in a horror movie and be like, oh, well, I got to investigate. I got to check this out. It's like, leave. Just leave.
Right?
Yeah, just peel out, burn rubber, maybe swinging around, come back, run them over.
Run them over.
Pull a UE real quick and sideswipe one of them.
This is GTA, and then
make sure you do a little burnout on top of them.
All right, let's go to another little story here. My name is Ali, and I'm from Birmingham, UK. It was April 2017, and it had been raining pretty heavily for a few days, so there hadn't been any children playing outside. However, on my way back home from work, it must have been around 6:30 or 7 p.m., I saw two children playing in the rain. I thought nothing of it since I did it as a kid. It always rains in the UK, so we just learn to adjust to it sometimes. A few hours later, I was leaving my house to go to the gym, as I do most evenings, and these two kids are still playing in the exact same spot. I thought maybe their parents told them not to move too far away from the house, which made sense, so I just carried on my way. I was returning home from the gym, and it was now 9:35 p.m. exactly, and these kids were still there. Only this time, they acknowledged that I had seen them, and the younger of the two approached me and simply asked if I could let them in because it was raining, and their parents weren't home. I was going to let them in until I saw their eyes. They were completely black. The entire eye was black as coal. The brother began to approach. It looked as though he was older. The younger sibling was defiant and definitely in charge. She asked again, this time with more anger in her voice, just let us in. I stood frozen in fear. So I said, let me get you some help. And then I turned away and sprinted to my house, locked the door, and ran to the window upstairs. I could see the kids still there. Now this is where it gets weird. I took out my phone and thought, let me take a Snapchat of this and warn others. As soon as I took the picture, they both looked up into the window like they knew what I was doing, and my phone, which was 65% battery at the time, just died. I plugged a phone charger in and nothing. It wouldn't even turn on. It was just dead. I looked back out the window and the kids were gone. The next day I went knocking on doors of my neighbors, and none of them had children except one couple who had one child, but it was only 6 months old. I believe I had an encounter with something else. So this one is a little weird because it seems like they encountered them while they were outside, but they didn't do anything but they still demanded to be let inside someone's house. And then it's almost like they can't do anything unless you give them permission to come inside.
Yeah, like little freaking shitty vampires.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't want to do any, maybe they don't do anything, I should say, if they're outside because they don't want any witnesses.
There's that.
Or maybe it's some kind of thing where they need to be given permission to come in, and coming inside doesn't necessarily mean just inside your car or inside your house.
They want that booty.
They want a piece of your ass.
Yeah, this is like a reverse Chris Hansen. I don't want no little boys, no cookies, nothing. I know who you are, Chris Hansen, but I call you Chris Handsome. Yeah, but these are definitely like some creepy little vampire kids.
Yeah, I wonder if that's like a connection that what if they actually are vampires? So like if you encountered a black-eyed kids and you just like shot a clove of garlic at them with a slingshot, would they run away?
I don't know. Break out the wrist rocket.
Right? Go all like Lost Boys on them and start launching garlic at them with a slingshot.
Yeah, super soakers and all that.
Yeah, if you just like, if you just keep a thing of holy water and a squirt gun by the door and you just like peg one of them in the forehead.
Now, I wonder if black-eyed
happen?
kids are like, like utter Eastern, like European vampires where it's like you can throw out some mustard seed and they'll sit there and count it and get all pissed off at you.
Right?
Like, oh, I got some string. I'm going to make some knots. Throw it down.
They have to count and count and count. And then the sun comes up and they're done.
Cooks her ass like an air fryer.
Right? He said it was August in the UK in that story. So, and it was he saw him at 6:30 or 7 p.m. So I imagine it was still probably daylight out.
Yeah. They were like, let us in. It's cold and raining. It's like, you little shits. I saw you out here for hours playing in this shit. Go get out of here.
Right?
Go crawl underneath a car or something.
It raining and being in the UK, it's probably kind of getting dark anyway. And so the sun's not out very strong at all. So maybe that's why. They can come out and when it's cloudy because they won't get nuked by the sun.
Yeah. True. I would say just shoot him in the chest, but this is in cuckold UK. They got no freedoms.
Ain't gonna pull out the blicky in the UK.
No. I mean, you might be able to get like a weird like quasi matchlock made out of plumbing parts and Chinese firecrackers.
That would be
just
a sight to see.
Just make a little jerry-rigged gun like what happened to the Prime Minister of Japan.
Oh my God. Not Shinzo Abe.
Yeah, but instead of like ball bearing bullets, you just use like garlic cloves or something. Just stuff a crucifix down the quote unquote barrel.
I'd love to see a movie where some guy in the UK is running around with a ghetto rigged matchlock or wheel lock, and he has it shoots a stake, and then he's hunting vampires.
That'd be pretty cool. Raids a museum, gets a wheel lock.
Be badass.
Yeah.
Go all Solomon Kane on these bitches. Okay, let's go into some more stories here. I'm a believer in many things paranormal, with black-eyed kids being one of the stories I thought was an urban legend until early this morning. I'm the assistant manager of the Pizza Hut in my town, and my GM has me on the late shift, so he doesn't have to anymore. It was a little after 2 a.m., and around that time is when the external lights of the building cut off, leaving the parking lot almost pitch black. The driver and I were in the very back of the store, finishing up dough prep and dishes as we normally do. I'd like to say that I'm attuned to the paranormal since I've witnessed many things throughout my 21 years. While we were in conversation about sales and what to prep, I started to feel unnerved. I figured it was due to anxiety and stressing over a homeless man making a scene a couple hours prior to close. But the feeling didn't go away, so I made a patrol around the restaurant. I looked out the front doors since the highway out front gives off a little bit of light, but there was nothing. I looked out the windows in the dining room, but still nothing. It wasn't until I decided to look out the drive-thru window that I saw it. Standing about 5 yards away from the window was a girl in a dress, barely illuminated by the lights that were still cooling down outside. She was pale and had hair that fell just past her shoulders. As an adult, my first thought was, what is that kid doing out in 34-degree weather in the pouring rain? But then our eyes met, and I saw that hers were a jet black color. I recoiled from the window and ran over to the safe to get my phone out of it. We have to keep our phones locked up during business hours, and I normally don't have to have my phone glued to me 24/7, so I just put it there until I need it. By the time I got it out, and ran back to the drive-thru. She wasn't there, and I didn't see her again for the entire time we were there. I know the stories say they come to the doors of homes and to try to get in as long as you don't invite them in, you're fine. But she just stood there and then vanished. I'm still on edge from the whole situation. The believer of the paranormal in me makes me wonder if it could have been a spirit, which scares me more. My first encounter with an entity was one that portrayed itself as a child, so who knows? I just had to post my story somewhere. My girlfriend thinks I'm crazy, and my general manager, who also believes in things such as this, is now freaking out. Yeah, I highly doubt a little girl in a dress is just going to be chilling out past out in the Pizza Hut parking lot at like 2 a.m. when it's 34 degrees out and pouring down rain, and just staring.
Turns out it's just a cracked out midget wearing Morpheus glasses.
Is that why they have the cold resistance to the freezing rain?
Yeah, it's the crack cocaine. The touch of fentanyl.
It's always at these Pizza Huts, like the one back home, you can go through your drive-thru and you can get your pizza with a side of crystal meth.
Yeah.
Not even joking.
Yeah, so if you're traveling around Western Maryland and you see a old clapped out van with a Dallas Cowboys sticker, baby blue van, more than likely methamphetamines in there, especially if there's a morbidly obese man with sores all over him.
Ew.
Yes, he tried to sell meth to my friend.
My God. Wasn't he also the manager of that store?
Yes.
So, you can just go get your pizza.
He takes meth only when he can't get his prescriptions.
That's very interesting.
Yeah, he's a quite responsible adult. Also letting teenagers smoke weed in the kitchen, so there's also health code violations.
Good to know.
Yeah. But back to the story. Worst thing comes to worst, if the little freaky bitch comes, up to the drive-thru window, just slice that bitch's face with a pizza cutter.
Oh my God.
Give her the old Glasgow smile.
Jeez. It's brutal. Let me in.
Yeah. Stick her in the face with a pizza cutter. Although my pizza is never cut fully or correctly, so I imagine all the pizza cutters are quite dull.
Oh yeah, they're probably real dull.
Yeah. So more than likely just, I don't know, get a freaking a pizza flipper, whatever that big paddle looking thing is, the metal thing, just kind of spear chuck it at her.
Spear chuck it. My God. Yeah, let's go into another story here.
Yeah.
I was 17 when this happened. At the time of writing this, I am 19, almost 20. I was working at an indoor water park that will be referred to as the Puddle. I was a lifeguard and was the last one heading home late one night. I was soaking wet and freezing despite it being nearly 80 degrees outside. I got into my car and locked it, pulling my phone out for some music. I read a couple messages and got distracted. Suddenly, there was a tap on my window. I looked up and saw a couple of kids staring at me. I rolled the window down just enough to hear them clearly. "What's up, guys? Are you lost?" I asked in a polite tone. They didn't really respond. They didn't move at all. Finally, the smaller child spoke, and as he did, my heart dropped. The voice that came from this child's mouth was deeper than my own. It was so deep, it sounded like Satan himself spoke to me.
"We just need a ride home. Could you let us in and take us there?"
I couldn't move. I was frozen in fear.
"Come on, mister. Just open the door."
It demanded, knocking again, as they were knocking a car's headlights illuminated their faces. They had voids where their eyes should be. When they saw my look of horror, they grinned and started pounding so hard on my window that I thought it'd break. I kept trying to start my car, but it wouldn't. Finally, one of the housekeepers of the hotel the Puddle was built around came out to throw the trash away. I heard them walking and went to warn them about the kids, but when I looked up, they were gone. Now, this could have been a hallucination brought on by the amount of stress I went through, but it was very real for me. Anyway, my car ended up starting, and I made it home in record time. Like I said, not the scariest thing that's ever happened to me, but it's up there. Let's just hope they don't find me again. So that one, that makes me definitely feel like if that was an actual being, it was definitely just an evil spirit or something that's showing up.
A little bit. Because no child just walks up and is like, "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah.
No little 6-year-old just walk up, "Hey, brother, how's it hanging?"
Yeah, and like, hey man, can you just let me in, take me a ride?
"Hey man, you got like a cigarette I can have?"
"Hey little man, Got a whole dollar.
Yeah, everybody hates Chris.
Yeah.
Well, something else is works in an indoor water park. Says they're freezing cold because they're wet, but it's 80 degrees out. So, and then you got the deep voiced little, shitheel walking up to you.
Shitheel.
So, I mean, it's kind of like clearly this is a supernatural deal. And the housekeeper acted like I am assuming she didn't hear or see anything. So,
yeah, probably not.
And then, of course, the whole James Earl Jones 6-year-old.
James Earl Jones 6-year-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think those are some pretty good stories that kind of show the general, like, I don't know, what's a trope of what the black-eyed kids encounters are. Well, except for the one where in the UK where they like nuked the guy's phone and killed it.
Was
I haven't
weird.
really heard of anyone else doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the one with the I don't know why did they okay, so one dude clearly saw your eyes and now you're asking angrily and beating on the window to get in on the one story. It's like you're smoking dick if you think I'm letting you get in my car after acting like that, for one, even if you didn't have black eyes.
Yeah. Like
I wouldn't let you ride in the trunk.
Whereas you would pop the trunk on his ass.
Yes. Pull out the Glock with the switch.
Yeah.
Stitch him. Ventilate him.
But yeah, like it's just so weird how everyone who sees them, they get this, like they can tell when they're being approached, like, hey, most of the time they already feel something's off. And then they get hit with this incredible sense of fear or dread. And then they see the eyes and things just get worse. I know another common theme is like how in the first story with Brian Bethel, how he found his hand subconsciously reaching for the car lock.
Yeah.
I've also heard other stories where people were trying to, or like unwittingly starting to open the door before they even realized what was happening.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like old like Bram Stoker style vampire hallucinations, like where like over there just like they start doing shit without even realizing.
Yeah, they're like influencing you,
Yeah.
trying to like get you to do stuff.
Yeah, like the one guy said he didn't know if it was a hallucination due to stress or all the stress. It's like, dude, me personally, I've been under a lot of stress. I've seen a person turn into hamburger meat before on the highway to the point where it looked like literal ground meat with a pair of sneakers laying next to it. But I've never been so stressed out that I hallucinated 2 children with black eyes and James Earl Jones' voice coming out of it.
Right?
You and I both have seen some gruesome shit, but we had never stressed out to the point where James Earl Jones came out of a white boy's little like child like face. Like it's never been like that.
Right. Yeah, we've both been very stressed out at different points, but we've never had that. So I would say definitely not a stress-induced hallucination. I think that dude actually saw something.
Yeah, like this dude, like, quote Alex Jones, if I can do the voice with this cold. These people are demons.
Exactly.
I don't know how that sounds because like the head cold, but yeah.
Actually, it sounded pretty good.
Okay, cool. What do I do, oh Lord?
Destroy the child. Corrupt them all.
But yeah, these things are definitely evil, I would say, for one.
Yeah.
Whether or not they're a spirit, vampires, aliens wearing skin suits that look like little kids.
Now, what if these are like, okay, so you know like the old depictions of vampires where they're always like old men, but as soon as they get blood, they like, appear younger? What if these like some little Benjamin Button shits?
Yeah, they just had a meal last week, but they're getting a little hungry again, and you're just like, oh, I look like a little kid, don't let me in.
Yeah, then meanwhile his voice cracks and he's like, let me in.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, damn, his balls dropped freaking 12 stories.
What do you think they are, if you had to guess?
Just demons.
Just demons manifesting on the earth.
Yeah, that or possessed children. Whatever. Tomato. Either demon children or demons in children.
Well, if it's the latter, then you don't really want to ventilate them with the blicky.
I mean, what else do you do?
I don't know. Throw holy water on them.
Turn into an old black woman and just start yelling, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. And then, you can like, I don't know, beat him with a shoe.
Beat him with the chocolate.
No, wait, old black woman. She about to go get the old rotary phone off the wall and start cracking you in the head with it.
Ow.
She got that long, like 10-foot curled up cable. She's going to come straight out of the kitchen with that shit that's still attached to the wall and still chase you around the house and crack you with it.
Man, can you imagine getting hit in the head with one of those? That would hurt like shit.
I can attest. It does hurt.
Yeah, I definitely think that they could just be some kind of like evil spirit manifesting and trying to get permission to come in so they can like drain you, whatever. Kind of like a vampire in that regard. Maybe just not blood. Maybe it's like your life essence.
Yeah. I mean, there's different kinds of vampires. I mean, like you got everything from like the Bram Stoker style to like the general like traditional Strigoi to those Chinese hoppy shits, those pogo stick vampires.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely think they aren't human. That's for sure.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay, let's go into another story here. Maria Ortega Gonzalez opened her door after hearing incessant knocking. Her home was located in the modest Colonia El Bosque neighborhood of Tijuana, the largest city of the Mexican state of Baja California, right across the border from San Diego. It was late afternoon in March of 2016, and Maria was getting ready to start dinner as she always did at that time. The two children on her doorstep were about 10 years old, a boy and a girl, with their heads slightly downward. They were wearing what appeared to be handmade clothing, and from what Maria could tell, the children had very pale skin and very even features. Even though they spoke perfect Spanish, she knew that these kids were not from her neighborhood. Maria thought to call her three children to the door, who were about the same age as the two standing before her, but something told her not to. She then asked if they were lost and where their parents were. The two strange children replied with their original request for water and permission to enter the house. Maria asked them again if they were lost, and the girl of the two repeated, "No, we want to come in." Maria was at a loss as to what to do. It was when she grabbed her phone to call her husband that the two children finally looked up. What Maria saw filled her with terror. After making eye contact with them, she screamed while instinctively slamming the door. The two children had solid black eyes, something Maria had never experienced before. The sight of them had disturbed this Mexican housewife so much that she couldn't speak of it for days. At least, she had a good reaction to that. As soon as you see it, you just slam the door on on those little shits.
Yeah, just like, Dios míos, Jesus Christos. I can't really do like the voices today. This sucks.
It's all right.
Yeah.
But when they're asking for water, be like, yeah, I got some water for you. Some holy water and splash.
Go get the Fabuloso in the spray bottle, Maria, and spray them little shits in the eyes. Say, oh, mijo, you have stains. Let me clean.
Oh my God. Getting spray them in the face with Fabuloso.
Yeah, especially if you get that nice, like, made in Mexico concentrate Fabuloso. That shit potent. That shit nice.
Oh my God.
Hey, we'll leave them little shits fresh and clean. That shit smell nice.
They're just writhing on the ground.
Yeah, but they'll smell good.
But they smell good.
Yeah.
You put a little bit of holy water in the Fabuloso there, and be like, you're gonna clean them one way or another.
She just opens the door, pulls out a gold-plated 1911 Pinche American. Poof.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Turns out that's not an abuela. She works for the freaking Sinaloa.
Oh my God.
She a trafficker.
Oh my God. That is just too much. But yeah, those were some very interesting stories, I think, and pretty entertaining. I would definitely love to find some more stories of black-eyed kids, maybe like something just more detailed. I'd love to find like some longer stories. That would be pretty cool. I feel like most of these were pretty short.
Yeah. All I know is if a little child with black eyes comes knocking on my door, I'm like, oh yeah, go to the back door. This one has problem with the hinges, and then just don't go down to the back door. Just make sure everything's locked, and maybe it'll just leave.
Yeah.
Or you can just shoot them through the window.
Oh my God.
Take them off at the knees with like a 12 gauge.
Oh my God. Anyway, if y'all enjoyed this episode of Enter the Rift, please share it with your friends. Subscribe. Leave us a review if you want. That would be much appreciated. Thank you all so much, and have a great night.
Peace.